am I about to trigger the daylights out of some people with this one? Women in authority and the dark triad. You see, we all know that we're born just people, right? We're just people. We're just babies. Little bundles of love and fun and joy and giggles and dirty nappies and to your seppos and dirty diapers. and what is our prime objective, our prime goal, concern and need? It's love. It's all we want is love. And we've got so much to give. It radiates from us when we're babies. We don't care what colour you are, where you come from. We don't care about any of that. Not important. That's something that we learn. But one thing that we have is conscience. You feel bad when your mate feels bad. If you have two and they have none, well, now you both have one. Okay? Tracking? So we're not born leftist liberal. We're not born right conservative or redneck or blue-haired Karens. That's things that we learn. In order to learn that, we have to be taught that. It doesn't just appear. Now the problem is because we're not equal. Men and women are not equal. No two people are equal. We go back a few videos, my young fella walks into the room. He's much taller than me. Thank God, because I get sick of climbing up the step ladder to grab stuff all the time. He grabs things down from high places for me now, off the top of the fridge. I think I might be shrinking. We both measure the same round the bicep. But I have a stronger grip than he has. But he's stronger in other ways than I am. He's just learning the dig deeper scenario as he's starting to do weights and stuff. Me being the old man, I can't be outdone. I'm going to have to go and join a gym so we can both go to the gym and compete a little bit, because I hurt myself easy at my age. That's put aside. See, men, naturally, we resolve conflict. We're conflict resolvers, we're problem solvers. We fix and build and create things with our hands. And if we're not doing that, we're destroying something with our hands because we're not doing the other three. If we're not doing something constructive and positive, we self-destruct. It's just human nature. That's out of boredom. Like I say, they can either do God's work or the devil's work. But we're different. We have testosterone. We have far more adrenaline. We have denser, like higher bone density, more muscle tone. We're not as flexible as women. We even have a different amount of ribs. So we're not the same creature. Of course we're not equal. We're not the same. We have evenness, even responsibility. We even each other out. In a unity, we are a balanced scale, provided we do not tip those scales. Because of the advent of left liberalism and right conservatism, which, as we know, are not a natural phenomenon, we now have an imbalance in the family unit. Women are far more likely and prone to be radicalised in some way by left liberalism, because they have far different character traits to what men do. Hey men, how many of us, if we was here in a room, I'd say, put your hand up and tell me how many of us understand women, and anyone that did, I'd say, put it down, you're a liar, or you're kidding yourself. We don't, okay? And the same goes vice versa. Kind of like that old saying, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. It's not literal, it's just atypically, we come from a different place from within. Now, women are definitely more prone to the dark triad: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. But they're a completely different type of psychopathy. Their narcissism is played out differently because they have a different psychopathy. Their Machiavellianism is also played out differently to men. Men are more stoic with their Machiavellianism if they have Machiavelli character traits. Whereas women's Machiavellianism is a bit more cold and calculating, a little bit more character assassination. That's where their narcissism comes in, their psychopathy. They will destroy somebody internally to watch them implode. Whereas a man will go and take it on physically, externally, to watch them fall to the floor. From external powers rather than internal implosion. This is why when you get a man in an authority position that doesn't have grandiose narcissistic personality disorder and does not have psychopathic any psychopathy character traits, who is just a stoic man, even if they're Machiavellianistic by nature, which isn't such a bad thing provided it's measured. But when you put narcissism or psychopathy into a man, you create a very nasty, violent criminal. With a woman, you create a feminist who strives for power, who doesn't like to be challenged in their authority, doesn't like to be challenged in their thoughts. They don't even allow that to happen publicly. They will not allow themselves to be put in that position because they would rather destroy somebody internally and watch the world burn around them than allow themselves to publicly admit that they are wrong, because that destroys them internally. Which is why women should not be in authoritarian positions. I'm not saying this out of misogyny, I'm saying it out of common sense. You see, a woman is the caretaker of the children at home, naturally. So she's not going to put up with nonsense from kids. Because dad's not there, dad's at work, he's out providing. This is how it's supposed to be. How many in the room remember when they were kids, you wait till your father gets home? Oh, I remember that. Yeah, come on everyone, put your hands up. you know you copped it. You! That was enough. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. Just the tone of the voice was enough to snap you out of your bullshit. But the mum, that's what cop that you wait till your dad gets home. See the difference? But that hurts a character. So now, ain't mama happy? Ain't nobody happy. Happy wife, happy life. Once you put the leftist ideology into them, they're like that all the time. They're on the defensive when nobody's offending. They're forever looking for an attack that's not there. They will never admit that they're wrong. I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about women that have accepted the leftist liberal ideology. They have to be the boss, they have to be in charge, they have to be right. And if they can't be right, they will refuse to be wrong. I told you this is going to trigger you. I understand psychology a lot better than people think. Also, comprehend psychopathy quite well. I've lived with it. I've lived with the psychopathic, grandiose, narcissistic head fuck of a father who loved to fight and would smile and laugh while he did it. And fight like a machine. Big boy. 6 foot, 16 stone, just a wrecking ball. I've seen him punch doors clean off the hinges. Bang! Solid wooden doors. I understand it very well. I don't like it. I'm not a violent person. But I recognise it from a mile away. Only one person ever got the whack on me with me thinking it wasn't going to happen. Because I'd made him walk away so many times. I didn't think he had it in him. Apparently he had a few more drinks than that and probably something else under his belt at the time. Another story. This is why we shouldn't have the Penny Wongs, we shouldn't have the Giovanna Simpsons, we shouldn't have the Jacinta Allens, we shouldn't have the Teeny Brumbies, we shouldn't have... The list goes on and on and on. We shouldn't have any female in any position where it affects somebody external to them that they don't have to live with. Because they're very different when they have to live with it in their home. When it affects someone they love, it's a completely different scenario to somebody that they do not depend on to put food on the table or to have peace in their home. When you leave that office, once they've whacked it over you and you leave that office, quite often, not always, some women are brilliant at certain jobs. A nurturing job, if you've got a woman that actually does care, yeah, absolutely. Like, you won't get anyone to take care of a child like a woman. A real woman. A centred, grounded woman. Not a right-wing conservative or a leftist liberal. A centred, grounded woman. Same as a centred, grounded man. Those two together will be the best family unit. He will work, he will provide, he will not falter, she will lift him and hold him up and give him the support that he needs, and those kids grow up happy in a home that's not broken. They are the men that we need in control of things. Why? Because they not just comprehend, they understand. They are withstanding on the grounds that men are to provide and provide safety and to provide security. To listen so as to comprehend, so then they can calculate whether they are withstanding or not withstanding of that scenario. Whether that, okay, sorry mate, clearly you brought this problem on yourself. Would you like some help solving your problem? Oh, that's no good. Somebody has caused you this problem. Would you like some help solving that problem? See, there's your problem, and then there's the problem. I know a bit about causing problems for myself. Been there, done that. Also know a fair bit about solving them because I've had to solve them all. And I could never have done it without a little bit of help from some humbling, a bit of humility. Like I say, that is not an idol. That is a millstone. That's a millstone around my neck. I do not worship the cross that Jesus died on. I worship what he stood for. Don't even worship it. I respect it. I honour it. I comprehend it and I understand it. This is why we're never going to get any sense. And this is why Donna Adams, in no way in hell should she be a commissioner. No way in hell. She's a feminist weirdo. Look at the haircut on it. It's enough. She loves holding that little chunk of power. Have you noticed nowadays it's always leftist, liberalist women in control of things? And like I said, there's not actually any such thing. I honestly think that right conservatism and left liberalism are a mental illness. An acquired mental illness. So if they're acquired, they can be unacquired. They can be fixed. But that comes through natural selection. It has to be bred back out. It has to be squashed, gotten rid of, and we all just get back to centred, grounded normality. Realist. Stop spending like drunk sailors on white elephants. Stop duping people over bullshit because, orders from above. Any decision that puts anybody else into a disadvantage is a bad decision. Any legislature that has to be enforced is bad legislature. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to force a good idea. Okay? Charity. Any charity that hinders a person from standing up on their own 2 feet is that's not charity, that's harm. That's called over-love. Over-charity. That's being too charitable. Because when you give too much charity to someone that's not respecting that charity, that's not appreciating that charity, and is just living off it, that's somebody over here that needs it isn't getting it. That's why even in the good book, in the greatest library ever created, it says charity is for the widows, the orphans and the children. Not for the men. Men are for the men, to give them a helping hand, to give them some support, to give them some work so they can stand on their own 2 feet, to chuck them a bit of money in advance so long as they come to work tomorrow. If they don't come to work tomorrow, sorry mate, I tried to help you, but you're not helping yourself, go away. That weeds itself out. This is why I say, #walk away. Get away from this bullshit. It is not doing us any good. It's doing us nothing but harm. We're not supporting our women properly, our women are not supporting their husbands properly, and children are growing up in broken homes feeling unwanted because nobody ever fought for them. They come home to nobody. There's no soul attachment. There are homes with no fathers in them, created by lawyers. And this is because leftist liberalism, right-wing conservatism, all being governed by the dark triad: narcissism, Machiavellism, and psychopathy. These are the people that strive for power, and these are the people you're voting for. You're not going to overthrow them, because believe me, they've already gameplayed every scenario you can think of in their head, and got together and created safety nets for themselves. They've created ways where you coming up against them actually makes you fall down, where it looks like it's helping you, and then you're like, shit, I stepped in another trap. It's a rug pull. It's a bait and switch. Every time. But none of them. You see, this is the one thing that they do never, ever, ever calculate. How do you take the power away from a grandiose, narcissistic, personality disordered partner? How do you fix a toxic relationship? You walk away from it and you stop feeding it. It's the only way you can fix your own life, and to get out of that is to get out of that. But trust me, I know. An only kid from a broken home who just watched that in my home. Everywhere I've looked in my life, I've watched it from the outside looking in. I'm an observer. Which is why I walked out of the council meeting last night. I knew I was going to get nowhere, and they was going to try to use me to ridicule me. Teeny was sitting there looking at me. She didn't know what to make of me. She'd almost looked like a great-grandfather jumped out of his grave in front of her and went, "Boo!" I don't think they expected I was going to turn up because I've sent them nasty emails. Well, they weren't really nasty. It wasn't hate speech. I just don't take kindly to people taking advantage of other people. I know what it's like to be taken advantage of, to have your kindness mistaken for weakness, to have your weakness used as a ladder to be climbed by somebody else, as if they're doing this all for you. No, they're not. Go away, Giovanni. He wasn't doing anything for those people. That was all about you. That was all about narcissism and psychopathy. You calculated your narcissism. That's the scariest kind. When you can make Machiavellianism and narcissism look like empathy, that is a scary psychopath. The dark triad. Study, have a bit of a look about, poke around on the dark triad and what the dark triad's about. This isn't a misogynistic or a chauvinistic or a man's better than woman scenario. We're just not equal. We're not the same. We are different. And we have our jobs in life. We have our roles that we were created for. Even if you want to play the Darwinistic, you don't see men gorillas running around like being women. No? You don't see female gorillas running around holding a banana like it's a doodle. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Everything else in this world knows its place, which is why it survives, and the only thing that's destroying it is us. They're not destroying themselves or each other. It's us. It's all us. Yes, you get animals that are territorial and they have wars. Why? Because they move in on each other's territory. And once they sort that out, all right, there's the line, don't cross that line. Why? Because it don't belong to us and we don't want another war because our babies get killed. Like anything in the ape kingdom, when they go to war, it's brutal. So if you want to go the Darwinistic road, you can still use that as a perfect prime example. They know their place. The male and the female knows its job, it knows its place, and it keeps it. So I say, walk away. Walk away from all this. It is not doing any of us any good. Whatsoever. This is the voice of reason. This is the voice of reality. Alphas, get out of the way. An alpha is just another term for a grandiose narcissistic personality disorder affected human being. Alpha. Even an alpha gorilla is still stoic. They don't hide behind stoicism, pretending to be stoic. They are stoic. They don't have time for bullshit. They don't enforce their bullshit on anybody else. They don't want to be bothered. They don't bother anybody else. Until it's time. Until it's called for. They don't go looking for trouble. Again, that's only in us. Maybe we are created, eh? Like I say, whether you believe we were created or not is not the point here. If you want to say that it's Mother Nature, basic instinct, the same rule applies. Fine, if a woman wants a career, have a career. Go and work with women and do women things. Because you're not suited to the man things. And men, you're not suited to the women things. Stop that. It's sick. It's not right. You know that things are crooked and cuckoo when we've got men winning Women of the Year awards like that. What's his name? That fucking weirdo runner from America that knocks about with the Kardashians. I'm not even going to try to think of its name. Bruce Jenner, whatever the fucking thing is. It's an illness. Doesn't mean they need to be hated. They need some help. But this is an illness that we've created. It's a created mental disorder. It's going to take a generation or two to get rid of it. You're not going to fix it overnight. Locking them up ain't going to help. That's just horrible. We allow them to go to run its course. We allow it to just run its course. We don't feed it. We don't acknowledge it. We call a man, call a woman. If they don't like it, I'm sorry, you need to be in control of your own emotions. I understand you have gender dysphoria, but feeding it is not going to help. You have a dick, or you don't have a dick. Okay? I'm sorry, but if you have a dick, you're a man. Still probably deserving of love, nonetheless. Still deserving of a life. But I'm not going to support that as if it's a natural born phenomenon, because it's not. Like I said, when we are born, we're just little babies, bundles of love and joy and light and energy and even more love and a little bit more love on top of that, and we just want to give it to the world, and then we turn into this. We don't turn into this organically. It's force-fed. We got to stop unlearning what we were born with. Conscience.